Now, first of all, with the billing and payments, I want to address right up front. You'll notice the billing and payments link on my screen is right over here to the left. It's under the menu. Most of you may or may not have that link right now, and the reason being we have to open that link up to you. Basically, we have a written rule at CMS. In order to open up the billing and payments link for a user, we need written authorization, and that includes an email, but written authorization from the owner, president, or an officer of the company, basically authorizing us to open up that billing and payments link for any user within the company. And it is by user, so not all users have to have access to the billing and payment. As you know, obviously this is pretty sensitive information for a company to have, so we don't want every single user out there having access with it. And that's the whole reason why we want the owner or president or an officer to give us written authorization to open it up. Now, with my dealer right here, I'm a young dealer. I've already got authorization. It's only me that works at my office anyway. So as you can see, I've got the link. So let's go ahead and jump on over to that page and let's start talking about the billing and payments and what it shows. So the first thing you're going to notice, just like on every other page in Compass, whatever page I'm on, it's going to show me right up here at the top, billing and payments. Directly below that, I have a tab. And that tab is going to first show me a customer billing number. And that customer billing number is very, very close to what your dealer number is with CMS. It's got a couple what we call check digits that the billing department uses to create the invoices for you. So again, that first number that you're going to see, you'll probably recognize it as very similar to your dealer number, but it won't be exact. It's going to have a couple digits at the beginning and one digit at the end that's different. Right next to that is going to be the name of your company, okay? Obviously, this is Just Amir Alarm Service, and this is my customer number. Now, if I actually had access to more customer numbers, and some of you may have access to more customer numbers, you would have additional tabs on here. So basically one tab per customer number, so you'd get the invoices and the AR history and everything per customer number. I've only got the one, so you only see the one tab. Now, below that, again, just one more verification is the name of the company. So I've got Just Amir Alarm Services right there. Now below that we've got three boxes, and the first one is the billing address, and this is the address we've collected from you at the time that we probably signed up with us as an alarm dealer. That may or may not have changed. If it has changed, you'll look at that, and if it needs to be updated, you can contact dealer support, you can contact your BDSR. You can even call the billing department, and I added the billing department's phone number in the chat session. It's at the very top, so you can actually contact them to update the billing address if need be as well. That billing address is very important, obviously, because that's where we're mailing the invoice every month and any other billing correspondence that we might be sending to you. So we're sending it to that billing address right there. Next to that is going to be the billing information. So as I said earlier, I'm a brand new dealer. I just got billed my first invoice. You can see the balance is $110.97 days. The invoice age is 3 days. So with the way CMS does their billing, if you're a DSB dealer, so that means that we actually invoice your customers for you and we collect the monitoring fees from your customers. That's a DSB dealer. We actually bill those dealers on the first of the month, every month. If you're not a DSB dealer, what we call just a standard monitor dealer with CMS, we bill those on the 25th of the month. So in this case here, I'm not a DSB dealer. I'm sending my invoices to my own customers on my own. So my invoice got ran on the 25th of this month, so you can see my invoice age is 3 days. So it's 3 days old. It's still in the green, and that's good for me, because if I look down here, this green corresponds to the bar that's down here a little bit further on the screen. And you can see here, green is anywhere with your invoice date is 0 to 30 days. So that basically means I've got 30 days to pay my invoice, and I stay in the green. Now I can jump out there to the 31 to 60 days. So if I go more than a month but less than 2 months, I'm in the yellow. I can go orange if I'm under 3 months, 90 days. Now if I get into the red, that's kind of that's a no-no there. Anything above the 3 month mark, you want to kind of watch that. You don't want any balances above that 3 month. You'll probably get a call from our billing department or Jeff Hoblick, our vice president, and just checking in on you to make sure everything's okay. So you really want to stay as much as you can, obviously, in the green, but even if you're in the yellow or the orange, that's obviously understandable as well. Now, again, I'm in the green right now. My first invoice just got ran 3 days ago, so I'm okay looking at that. Now, next to that is a box called the billing email. Now, as I mentioned before, we mail a hard copy of your invoice to the billing address, and we're always going to continue to do that for the time being anyway. But if you want to get that invoice a little bit quicker, you can set up a billing email if you want. You're still going to get the hard copy mailed to you, and that's going to take a couple days depending on the mail service, right? But as soon as it's available, it can get emailed to you pretty much immediately. So if you want to add an email address on here, we just simply click on the pencil, and we say add additional email, and we just go ahead and type in our name. And now we have our first name, our last name, and we have our email address. We click the Save button, and it tells you here, success, we've added it. You'll be receiving invoices via email, but you'll still continue to receive paper invoices as well. So that's just one more little notch there, so you know that you're going to still be getting the hard copy mailed to you. And you can see here, I've got my email address in my billing email box now. Now, you can set up 5 emails for your billing email if you want. Eventually, we're still talking about this internally, but eventually we may get to the point where you can opt out of the hard copy being mailed to you, but we're not quite there yet. But again, if you set up your email that way, you're getting it pretty much on the day it runs, the 25th or the 1st, if you're a DSB dealer, but you're getting it that much quicker than waiting on the mail service to get to you. So those boxes up there, we've talked about those. So let's slide on down here a little bit further. We've got 3 tabs that we want to talk about on the billing and payment. Okay, the very first one that's always going to populate is the AR history. And this is basically just going to show you all of the payment and credit history, everything on your account with CMS. Now, again, like I said, I've only got 1 month. It just ran, but many of you have probably been with this a lot longer than me, so you're going to have more stuff here. It's going to automatically default to the last 90 days. Okay, so you can see from February 28th of 2020 to May 28th, 2020. That's what's displaying down here in the bottom. Now, you have the option of changing that to 30 days, the last 180, or even the all history, so that you can get everything of your AR history with CMS. And some of you may want to do that. I will caution you, if you're a dealer that's been with us for a long time, let's say the early 90s even, this is going to be pretty significant. So if you choose all history, this is going to be a huge list that pops out. But it's not a bad thing to do every once in a while, because if you do your all history, then you can go over here to your export icon and export that and have a hard copy. It's in PDF. So if I click on this to export, you're going to see it's open in PDF. It's going to basically show me as the time I created this report on the 28th. There's my balances across the top, and there's my line items. Now, if I did all history, and I've been with the dealer, I've been with CMS for 20, 25 years, this is going to be multiple pages. It could be 25, 30, 35, 40 pages of just line items, but it will show you every transaction that has taken place with CMS as far as the billing department is concerned. So again, that's not a bad thing to have, but keep in mind, it's always there. So whether you actually need to print it out or, download the copy of it, that's up to you, but just know that you can always do all history and then export it at any time and see all that information. So, like I said, for most people, having it default to 90 days is sufficient. That's basically going to be for the last 3 months, right? So you're going to see everything that's taken place as far as your debits and your credits and stuff. Now, below that, you've got a couple radio buttons. It, again, is going to default to all transactions. So it's going to show me everything that's taken place. I could choose just to see my debits. I could see only my credits. It's blank. Obviously, I have not made a payment on my account yet, so that's going to be blank. If I go to my debits, it's going to show the one line item. Again, most of the time, all transactions is going to be fine for most dealers. So again, that's why it's defaulted there. So what we're looking at down here is the transaction, right? So this is my recur billing line that took place on the 25th of the month. Now, what we used to do is we had what we call a billing audit report that was available on the reports page, and you could go to the reports, find the billing audit report, and it would show you the detail of your invoice. It caused a little bit of confusion because, for one, you had to have the invoice in hand. So we've had to have mailed you the invoice. You get it. In the top right-hand corner of that invoice is the invoice number. As you see right here, we have a column for the invoice number already. 501-2621 is the invoice number for my invoice for this month. So you had to have a copy of that, and then you put that on the report's parameter page, and then it pulled that report up for you. So it was a couple of different steps that you had to take, and more times than not, people were calling either the billing department or dealer support or me and asking questions on how to get that report. So we decided to make it a lot easier. So it's now included on this line item, as you can see. So it's not on the reports page anymore. You don't have to do anything. And if you remember me talking a couple weeks ago about reports, I talked about having one-click reports, and those were on the monitoring side. So on the monitoring page, on the locations, we had the one-click reports, the insurance certificate and the database report. Well, we've got a few one-click reports in the billing side too, and they're all right here. Okay, so the very first one is our invoice number. So I talked about this getting mailed to you via, or a hard copy mailed to you via the mail service, and you can also get it emailed to you, but you can also get it real time by just clicking on this as well. And when you click on it, it's going to open up in PDF. There's that gigantic invoice number right there in that top corner. And then it's going to show you the account number. That matches that tab up there in the top. Invoice date, again, on the 25th because I'm a standard monitor dealer. Payment due. And then I see my amount is $110.97, right? So now I can go ahead and scroll on down and I can see all my charges. So I'm looking at my charges and I can see my monitoring fee is $5 a month. You know, it's $47.90 for this month. I've got a daily timer test that I'm paying $10 a month for. This month I'm paying $18.07 for that. I got a supervised open and close account that's $20 a month, and it's a $27.74 bill. So you can kind of see it's broken up. It's not even, right? And I've also got my Alarm Net combo at $10 a month. And then the sales tax. I'm paying sales tax on my services. Some of you may or may not be paying sales tax if we got your certificates. I don't have one, so I pay my sales tax. So there's my invoice. So it's nice to be able to see this, right? So that I can see exactly what my $110.97 is good for. But it's not showing me what I'm paying for my accounts, right? So if I get a credit card statement from my bank and all they say is you owe $110.97, I want to see where my $110.97 came from. I want to see, like, what day did I make some charges on? Where did I make those charges? And that's kind of what the billing audit detail report is going to be for. So this is a good starting point for you. You definitely want to look at your invoice, and we're going to come back to this in just a second. But this is a very good starting point for looking at your invoice with CMS. So what do we want to do next? Well, I like to go to the billing audit detail because I want to see where those charges come from. I can see that I'm paying, so much $5 a month, and that came out to be $47.04 for the standard monitoring. But what is that for? What accounts are that for? Are we missing any accounts? So I can go ahead and click on the billing audit detail report. This column right here is billing audit detail. I have the option of doing Excel or PDF. If anybody's heard me talk over the last 6 weeks, I'm a big proponent of Excel because I can do so much more in Excel. I can hide columns, I can filter, I can sort, I can move columns around. I can't do any of that with the PDF. It's basically just a snapshot. So I'm a huge fan of Excel. So anytime I have the choice between the two, I always select Excel. So I select Excel, I click on that report. It's going to download, and then it's going to open up in Excel format, just like you see it right now, okay? It's going to show me my installer number. It's going to show me my account number, the location numbers. And the location number is important because a location could have multiple account numbers on it, and it can also have multiple charges on that. So this billing audit report is going to show me by location all of the charges that I'm paying for, okay? So I'm looking at, like, in particular, we'll look at the Skywalker account on lines 2 and 3. So he's listed twice. Why is he listed twice? If I scroll out here to the side, I see in column I, the bill code, I've got Z2001 and I've got Z2003. I don't know about you, but I don't memorize codes. I don't need to worry about it. And the nice thing about it is, since even if I don't know what Z2001 is, right next to it is the bill code description. So Z2001, that's my standard digital monitoring rate that I'm paying CMS. There's my $5 a month. So for the Skywalker account, I'm paying $5 a month for standard monitoring. Right below that is my 2003. That's my daily timer test. So I've got a daily timer test at the Skywalker account. I want to make sure that that thing's sending a signal every single day and never drops because I don't want any visitors popping in if the alarm system's down. So I'm paying basically $15 a month for the Skywalker account for two different services. Okay, but for this month, as you'll see, it started on the 7th of the month. So his first start date of billing was May 7th, 2020. Now that corresponds into 1.81 months of service because we're billing 1 month basically in advance, and then we're taking the 7 days that it came on, 31 minus 7, divided into 31 again, equals 0.81. Okay, so we're doing a bunch of little math there. Our mastermind or our billing software does all that for us, but it's basically taking whatever the start date is, subtracting that from the number of days in the month that it came online, and then dividing that back into the total number of days. Again, that equals 0.81. So for this account on this invoice, I'm paying 1.81 times 5, and I'm paying 1.81 times 10. So there's my 903 and my 1807 for my total. So if I add these up, I now know exactly what I'm paying for the Luke Skywalker account. I'm hopefully charging him a lot more than this, so I'm making a little bit of money. So you'll see how that kind of works. The account above that, the man account, came online on the 20th. So that's only 11 days of billing in the month of May. That comes out to be 0.39. So she's only got one charge on there. She's got the $5 a month regular standard monitoring. She's paying I'm paying $6.94 for her for standard monitoring. Okay. Now I am a brand new dealer, so this is a very simplified billing audit detail report, right? I don't even have any cancellations. I just started, haven't canceled any. All I've done is add a few accounts in here. So this is very nice and neat. It's easy to look at. Your guys's probably isn't as nice and neat. You've been with CMS a lot longer. You probably have some canceled accounts. You got some added accounts. The canceled accounts work kind of the exact same way, depending on when you cancel and what day of the month they cancel. They get prorated on that as well. So keep that in mind. So this is a very high-level look at the billing detail report. If you pull yours up and you've got questions, definitely call dealer or call the billing department, and they can walk you through everything on that. Again, mine's very, very simplified, but the billing department, they got people there. They'll even pull your account up if you want, and they'll walk you through any questions you have as far as looking at your exact numbers and everything else. Now I can go ahead and scroll on out here, and you'll see my total charges are here. I've got activity allowance, because some of our dealers do have some activity allowance, what we call OHAs, operator handled alarms. So we're keeping track of that information. I'm a brand new dealer. Again, I'm paying higher rates, so I don't have to worry about that at this time. And then I've got my user defined fields as well. These are the custom value fields from the location page. So if you're using that, they'll show up on the billing audit report. As you can see, I am using it because I've got some accounts that are alarm.com. I've also got some accounts that are AlarmNet, and this easily, I can look at this and go, okay, yeah, this is definitely an AlarmNet account, and I've got it tagged as an AlarmNet account. So, that's just another way to kind of keep track of those accounts and the third-party services and stuff like that we might be billing you for. Now, so again, this is really nice because it's giving you a line-by-line item of the monitoring charges that are on this invoice. One of the things I'll point out is, you'll notice up here, my subscriber charge is only $103.71, but when I was looking at my invoice, it was $110 and some change, right? So what's the difference there? Well, for me, that's pretty simple. If you remember, I pointed out that I have taxes. Sales taxes don't show up on this. This is basically just a subscriber service charge that you're looking at on this report. So my sales tax is not going to show up down here. So that's why you want to work with your invoice, look at your invoice and the billing detail report, and kind of do 2 and 2 together to make sure that 4 is equals. So you want to see, you want to see that the sales tax added to the 103.71 equals what's on the invoice. Now, there are a few other charges, and again, you guys have been with CMS a lot, so you may have some of these charges. that don't show up on the billing audit detail report because they're not considered monitoring services per se. So stuff like phone line charges. So if we're rebilling you for 800 services, 800 phone line services, those would show up on the invoice as a line item on the invoice, but not on the billing audit detail. Likewise, if you're a message center dealer, you've heard me talk about message center probably every week for the last 6 weeks. If you're a message center dealer, that's another line item that shows up on the invoice, but not on the audit report. The third one that I know of right offhand, and this is pretty important and becoming more and more popular, that might show up on the invoice and not the detail report. So if you're going out and you're replacing a 3G unit, like a 3G radio unit, let's say AlarmNet or whatever, and you replace it with an LTE, if you forget to cancel the 3G with AlarmNet, then they're going to charge us twice. They're going to charge us for the 3G unit. They're going to charge us for the LTE unit. Our software doesn't allow us to put two charges on the billing audit report like that. So we can't do that with the exact same bill code. So it blocks it. So what it does is it puts that line item on the invoice. So if you're looking at your invoice and you see a radio unit charge, like a AlarmNet, a Cellular, any of our third-party billing billing services, if you see those on there, that's going to be an indication to you that you haven't canceled one of those radios with that provider. So you kind of want to make sure you're looking at that. So if you see those, you definitely want to contact your provider, again, whether it be AlarmNet, Cellular, whoever it might be, and you want to make sure you get that old unit canceled. So again, that's why it's really important to kind of look at your billing audit detail report and the invoice. You don't want to just go off of one and only one. You want to kind of work them hand in hand. Okay, so that's our billing audit detail report. So I'm going to minimize that. We're going to go back to that. So again, that shows me line by line item for that invoice and for what that is, prorated and everything else. Now my other one is my billing audit summary, and this essentially shows me my charges per service. Okay, so if I pull up my billing audit summary, I can look here, and it looks very similar, right? Yeah, I mean, I've got my location number, I've got my CS numbers and my location name, but I've only got one line item, one line per account on this one. I still have my user-defined fields, and now I've got my services. So my premium services are my services for monitoring, basically. So that's everything coming from CMS, essentially. So my $5 standard, my $10 daily timer test, my $20 supervisor, those are all considered premium charges. Again, those are just the regular monitored accounts. So these aren't prorated. You don't see any of that. These are just the standard rates of what you're paying per service, per account. So you can see here, we did the math earlier on the Skywalker account. He's paying $15. We're paying $15 a month for him. Hertz Donut, we pay $5 for the monitoring. We pay $20 for the supervised open close. There's my grand total. So again, this gives me a line-by-line item of what I'm paying, but it's putting the services together. Okay, so you want to keep track of that too. That's another one that's nice to look at and kind of keep track of. Where these two reports come in handy, essentially is the billing audit summary and the billing audit detail. You're going to want to use these reports, especially to compare them with your billing software. So whether you're using QuickBooks or Sedona or Alarm Biller or whatever you might be using for your software, for your billing, you want to keep track, because you may cancel an account in your billing software because they notified you that they were moving and they're canceling or whatever. So you don't want to invoice them anymore. But if you haven't canceled it on the CMS side, we're going to continue to bill you for that. So you want to be able to pull a report from your billing software and then also pull the billing audit detail or the billing audit summary and see what accounts you're getting billed for, and make sure that the accounts you're being billed for, you're also billing, and you're billing the correct amounts. So that's where those come in handy, and that's where you really want to use those audit detail and the audit summary reports. Okay, so this is basically going to be your AR history. So we kind of talked about that, and it's showing your amounts, everything else. Maybe we'll do this again sometime, and I will have made a payment, and you'll actually see my payment on here. Or you'll see that they'll put a note that I'm a deadbeat and I haven't paid. So we're going to go over to our next tab. Our next tab is our billing tab, and where this comes in handy is a couple ways. if you've got a customer calling you because they got the invoice in the mail and they're trying to figure out why they're being charged so much, this is a really quick way to pull their account up and see what services they have at CMS. So that would correspond to, you can say, hey, well, this is why, because you have this service and you have this service. So how do you do that? Well, you can do it a couple different ways. If you're a smaller dealer like I am, brand new with CMS, you don't have a lot of accounts, you can simply click on this drop down and it's going to show you all of your active account numbers, and you just select which account number. Now, if you're a dealer that's been with us for a while and you've got a lot more accounts, you're probably going to need to type in this field instead of doing a search, because otherwise it's going to be a massive number of accounts. So if I just type in 5152, it's going to pull that up, and now here's my line item. So it's very similar to what we saw earlier, right, between the billing audit report and the billing summary report. I've got my customer name, I've got the account number, I've got the two billing codes and the descriptions of those bill codes, and then the monthly amount for each of those, and when they started for the billing cycle. So this is way, if I'm talking to someone at the Hertz bill and they're wanting to know why they're paying so much, I can simply say, well, we got you set up on the supervised open and close, so you know the monitoring station is supervising the time that the store is supposed to open, the time it's supposed to close, and you know, basically you can explain to them why you're paying so much. Likewise, you know, if you're getting ready to go out to a sales call or something like that, or a service call, you could also pull this up and give this to your salesperson. Say, hey, you know, these guys should have AlarmNet services as well. So could you go ahead and add AlarmNet to them, or to try to get them to purchase AlarmNet? Well, and do the install while you're out there, and then we can add that as a line item on here. So the billing tab is really nice to look for that one single account and then see quickly what charges they have and what they're set up for and the monthly amount. Now, right below that section, this is basically hard-coded in here, it never changes, is all of the active billing codes for your company. You can see here, again, I've said it before, I'm a small company. I've only got 3 billing codes, but it's a real good chance that you guys have a whole lot more. So you have the billing codes listed in the first column. The second column is going to be the description. Again, that's what I live off of, because I'm not going to try to remember 2007, 2003, and 2001. And then it shows me how many accounts are on each bill code. So it's a simplified way of pulling the billing audit report or even the billing summit detail report. I don't get the full detail, but at least I know how many accounts I have set up for standard monitoring. So if you remember right, that's a $5 charge. So I've got 5 active accounts getting paid for that, and then I've got 2 more accounts that have some extra charges on there as well. So that's the billing tab. And anybody that gets set up with the billing and payments tab, they're going to get the AR history and the billing tab. Those come with that package, basically. There's nothing else we need to do. However, this third tab that we're going to talk about, we call this the PreMover List. And basically what CMS has done is we have contracted with the real estate industry's multiple listing service. And what we can do for you, the dealer, is we can take your account base with us, your active account base, we send it to the MLS, and then they run a check on that, and they kick back to us any accounts that have either been listed for sale or have gone to contract for sale. And that's really nice to have if you think about it, because how many times has this happened? How many times have you guys possibly been sending an invoice to a customer for 3, 4, 5 months, never getting paid, only to find out that that customer moved 3 months ago? And, you know, they forgot to tell you because, you know, they were trying to get moved out of their house or trying to buy a new house, and they just never thought about canceling their service with you. So you have not been getting any money from them, but yet we've been billing you for it, and you think they've been an active account, and they haven't been an active account. And so instead of chasing that, we provide this service where you can find out every time a property goes or gets listed and goes to contract. So in this case here, I've got it turned on. It is a feature that has to be turned on. You will need to talk to either your BDSRs or your BDRs. I think Beth has a link. Beth, if you happen to have that link, if you could put that in the chat for your BDRs or BDSRs, there's a link to that just in case you don't know who those people are. But you'll want to talk to them about the PreMover List, getting it turned on. There is a small fee for it, only because there's a small fee that we pay with the MLS to have that. And basically all we do is pass that along to you guys. But it's a really nice feature. I'm going to show that to you right now. So in this case here, I've got my pre-mover list. It kicked back to me. I'm looking at it. I can see I've got 2 accounts on my pre-mover list that I need to probably do something with, right? So I need to go down here, and I'm going to look at my tab or tabular form down here, and I see, first of all, this got ran on the 26th, so just the other day, so this is fresh data. Listed, I got the Anita Mann account got listed on the 19th. So it shows me the name of the account, the address, the city, state, the phone number. And so basically what do I want to do with this? Well, I want to call Miss Mann, and I want to introduce myself and say, I'm your alarm company. I noticed that you've listed your property for sale. I want to offer my services to you. I hope that you've been happy with me, with everything I've been able to take care of you. Are you moving someplace, close by? If so, is it, would you like my services at your new home or your new residence or your new business? And, you might be able to go ahead and pick up that service if she's moving close by. You also might ask her, at the same time, do you happen to have any buyers for your home at this point? Do you happen to know anyone that is buying it? Do you have their name or anything like that? In this case here, probably not, right? Because it's the 19th. It hasn't gone to contract yet. So then you just go, would you mind if I put some of my literature in your home so that when the real estate agent does the open house, prospective buyers can see my information and they'll know that the panel's already on the wall, the keypad's there, and then if they buy the house, then I can go ahead and reach out to them at that point. So it gives you the opportunity to not only know that she's leaving, that she's not going to be paying you anymore for this property, but you can save this property probably and maybe pick up that new buyer that's coming in. So that's what's nice. And then again, if she's moving someplace close by and she likes the service you've been providing her, she more than likely is going to stay with you because she doesn't want to start making all those phone calls to try to find a new alarm service if she doesn't have to. So now not only have you saved an account, you picked up an account, right? So that's where that starts coming in handy, having this MLS pre-mover list right there in front of you. Now likewise, right above Anita's account, I've got the SpongeBob SquarePants account. His pineapple has gone to contract. So not only did he get listed, but he's gone to contract. The pineapple, that's a hot property. Everybody wants that thing. So it went to contract on the 23rd. So I definitely want to call SpongeBob. I want to talk to him, and I want to, again, introduce myself just in case he doesn't remember who we are. I want to ask those same questions. Are you moving somewhere close by? Can you use my services? I see that you've gone to contract. Do you happen to have your homeowners or the new buyers' information? I'd love to be able to talk to them, possibly even use your referrals. So now, again, if you get that customer's information that's buying his home, maybe you reach out to them and you find out where they're moving from because they have probably sold a house in order to move to this new house. And so now you can reach out to them. Hey, would you mind if I put my literature in your old home, again, for open house purposes? Now, not only are you possibly saving the Pineapple Lane account, with the new buyer, SpongeBob's moving somewhere close by. He's not leaving too far away. So he's happy with my services. I can pick up his new account or new home as a new account. And now I might even get the new buyer for his house. I might get their old house as well. So now not only am I saving this account, I'm picking up 2 or possibly even in a perfect world, a third additional account. So I take this account or I take this page and either if you're a small company like me, I'm making the phone calls myself. I might have a retention specialist or a sales manager in my office. I can go ahead and export this to them. If I don't want to give them access to the billing and payments and the pre-mover list, I can go ahead and export this into Excel, give that to them, and let them start working it. Now, if I want to give them access to the pre-mover list, and by the way, we do have this option, I can give people access to the pre-mover list and not anything else. They would not get the AR history. They would not get the billing information or anything like that. They would just get the pre-mover list. So we do have that ability to give that access. And if they have that access, what's really nice is you can scroll out here and you can see that in the actions column, they can acknowledge it. So if my retention specialist or I talk to SpongeBob, we can go acknowledge it. We can say, doesn't know the new buyer, but can put lit in the house. We go ahead and hit acknowledge, and now that's going to populate in these columns right here. You're going to see this populate, and you're going to see acknowledged by what user did it, the date and time that they acknowledged it, and then the comment. And if I put my cursor on there, I can see the entire comment in there. Okay, so that's a real good way to work that PreMover list. So whoever's working it, use the acknowledge buttons or acknowledge links, put your notes in there, and now you'll know what's going on. You can see I did talk to Anita on the 26th at 3:32 p.m. She told me she was moving out of the area and she doesn't know the buyer. So now I just need to be vigilant about, checking out the property, maybe sending a guy by every once in a while to see if there's a real estate agent there or someone there, and just kind of, being a bulldog to try to save my account, because they're not just dropping off the trees for everybody right now. So you want to do everything you can to save those accounts. So that's the PreMover list. Again, you can have the AR history and the billing tabs and the information up here without the PreMover list. You can have just the PreMover list without everything else. But like I said, with the PreMover list, if you want that and you're interested in that service, contact the BDRs or the BDSRs. And yeah, Beth did put that in the chat, so thank you for that. That will show you by region who you should be talking to. If you still don't understand off the map and stuff like that that's there, you can also call dealer support, and we will be able to let you know who you should be talking to for the PreMover list. But again, I really think it's a fantastic tool to use to try to save accounts and even pick up new additional accounts as well. So that's going to wrap us up for the day. That's going to be the billing and payments, the link over there. I hope everyone found this to be beneficial. Like I said, I don't see a lot of questions popping in there, but if you have questions that come up later on, call dealer support, call your BDSR. If it's specific to the billing stuff, it might be quicker just to call the billing department themselves. Again, at the top of the chat, I've got the 800 number with the extension on there to talk to them, and they'll be more than happy to talk to you guys out there. So